All right. Who got a couple good ideas from that session? I can't believe they get 250,000 leads from that. Like, I want to go in that market. I just don't know anything about guns. It scares me. Just joking. Yeah, the potato gun market. Who wants some free potatoes? All right. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this tonight because this is something that it's more of a concept I want you to understand, and then it's something that you got to do a little research and effort on your side to be able to implement. And so I just want to help make sure you bridge the gap and really understand kind of what the concept, and then when you do it, it becomes really, really easy, right? Okay, so we talked again, we got our front-end funnels, which again, we're not talking about those during this event at all, but starting Monday, we'll be going into your break-even funnel, right? From there, we build bridge pages to bring people in, to bring cold traffic into our world. Let me step back here. This is what we're talking about right now, is content. So I told you guys before that the networks, these networks up here, right? Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all these things, like they don't want us marketers just selling stuff as much as we want to. So the evolution, and we've talked about this a lot today, is coming to the spot where we create content for these networks, then push people to our bridge pages, which then push people into our funnels. Okay? Now I want to caveat this by saying one thing, is that sometimes I push people directly from here all the way here. I skip a bridge page. Sometimes, like, there's not something where it has to be this. Again, this is marketing. It's like there's like 10% science and like 90% like creativity and trying things, right? It's this whole like throwing stuff against the wall. And so it doesn't have to be, Russell said it has to go from Facebook ad to a quiz to a this. Like sometimes, yeah, but it's something like I'm trying to give you guys tools that you can then use, and you're going to try different things. And maybe I try a quiz page to a video sales letter, or maybe it's a quiz page to, or maybe it's things like that. So I want you to understand this is a framework. It's not like it has to be this, or this, right? That's not how it works in this world. We're dealing with people. So what we give you tools, the things we know work. It's like what order can I put this in for my business for what I'm trying to do? Okay. All right. So what I want to talk about now is this part here. This is the content. This is the platform. Okay. And there's a lot of platforms out there, and there's more coming out every single day, right? We've got Facebook. We know about. There's Twitter. There's YouTube. There's Periscope. There's Instagram. There's WordPress. There's places out there that people are already going for content. Okay. One of the big things I learned from one of my early mentors, his name is Stephen Pierce, he talked about traffic, and he said, everyone's out there trying to figure out, how do I create traffic? I need to get traffic to my website. He's like, you gotta understand, like, you don't have to create traffic. Like, people are already online. People are already there. Like, traffic is happening. You don't have to create it. All you have to do is you have to figure out a way. You see this big stream of traffic. How do you, like, step out in front of it and get some of that coming to you, right? It's already there. Okay, you're not creating, you're just finding it, and you're getting out in front of it. So that's a lot of what this whole concept is about, is that we're finding, like, where's our audience at? Where are the people we want to work with? Where are they at? Like, obviously they're on Facebook, right? They're probably on Twitter. They're in these spots already. So we've got to create things that come out that grab them and grab their attention and get them to want to come into our world, right? Like their gun offers, just a perfect example. Like, from email lists, from Facebook, from social media, like, hey, win your free gun and ammo. Like, that brings a lot of people in, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about. Now, this is from the Dot-Com Secrets book, chapter 1. Should we have story time? I can read it. Just kidding. So the first thing I talk about in the book is this concept of the secret formula. You guys all remember this? If not, you need to read the book again. I'm just kidding. Well, you should. I like that book. I think it's really good. All right. So the secret formula, I want to kind of recap it for you, because this is kind of the framework of what, when you understand this piece, how it ties into the content, it should make everything like, oh, wow, Russell, this all makes like perfect sense now, right? So this is the framework. So the first thing we have to ask when we're in this business is, who do we want to serve? How many of you guys have very clearly defined, exactly who it is that you want to serve and to sell things to? That's good. That's a lot more than I would have expected. So that's good. When I got in this business, I did not know. I just jumped out. I started creating things and selling things. And like one day, I woke up and I had a whole bunch of customers I couldn't stand. And Brett and I were talking about this during lunch. Like, my seminars 5 or 6 years ago, I would show up and I'd be like sick to my stomach because I just didn't enjoy the people I was around. And the very first Ignite event we did, a year and a half ago. How many of you guys were at that event? I know Anthony was there, Bonnie was there. Anyway, that was the first event I had done like 5 years. So I was like, I'm never doing events again. I don't want to talk to people. Like, I was so scared. So when we restructured our business, and we said consciously, like, who do we actually want to serve? We want to serve entrepreneurs that are successful. They're doing these kind of things. And we launched the Dot-Com Secrets Labs book, right? That's how we got these people in and everything. And we did our first event afterwards. And I remember coming to that event, being sick to my stomach the morning I got there. And I showed up and I was just like, oh man, like, because I remember how much pain I had before. And I got to that event, and like everyone was awesome. Like the whole audience like was just, it was so different. I remember I went to lunch that day, and Brent was like, have you noticed anything different? I'm like, yeah, like everyone in there is awesome. And it all came back to like us kind of changing who our who is, right? Like that's why I do these, what do we do, 3 times a year events kind of like this now, because like our who is different. The people who show up, like you guys are fun to, like you all have cool businesses, you're cool people. Like I'm not just saying that to flatter you. Like it's true. Like I wouldn't keep doing these events if you guys drove me crazy, but you guys are all awesome. So it all comes down to this. So like we figured out who our who was. Who do we want to work with? And that was step number 1. So if you haven't figured out, like you need to define that, because if you don't, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get the wrong people coming into your world, and there will be a day when you wake up where you're just like, wow, like what did I create? I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is not who I'm passionate about serving, right? You got to figure out who that person is first off. Okay. After you know who that who is, and after you very very clearly define who that is, the second step is where are those people at right now? Okay. We got to find where those people are at. The first time I think I got this is about 10 years ago. I was thinking about this one day, and I was like, it's kind of like, I like using the word congregations when I think about this. Like, when you hear the word congregation, what do you typically think of? Church, right? And so I was thinking, like, if I was selling something, and let's just say I was selling something, let me step back. Like we know in churches people congregate based on similar beliefs and values, right? And they do it every single week. So every single week, all of the Muslims gather together over here, and the Mormons gather together here, and the Catholics over here, and the Baptists over here, and everyone self-congregates based on their beliefs and their values, right? And so they're there, they're already like in a spot. And so if I was selling something to Mormons, where would I go? They're all right there. They're just sitting there in one building at one time every single week. Like that's where I should go to sell them to, right? Obviously I'm not telling you guys to sell things at churches. That's not my goal. But what's cool about the internet is the exact same thing has happened online. That's the power of what the internet's given us, is it's given us this chance where like, think about the things that interest you right now. There's some weird things that all of you guys are interested in, I'm betting, right? And on the internet's given us a chance where like, let's say I'm into potato guns, right? I can hang out with all the other people in the world that are into potato guns all in one spot. We can talk about it, we can hang out. And that's what the internet has given us, is we have the ability to do that. And I think about in each of your lives, there's probably 4 or 5 like things that you're interested in, and you're in these little communities, am I right? I think about, for me, like things that interest me, like the whole biohacking community is really interesting to me. So I'm in those, I'm in the Facebook groups, I'm on the email list, I get the things I buy, their supplements, like that world is really interesting to me. Like that's a subculture that I'm part of, right? Internet marketing world, that's a subculture I'm very passionate about and I'm part of. Okay, I have a religious thing that I'm part of, and I'm in these different subcultures because they're interesting to me, right? And so you think about this, like that's happening all over the internet in every one of your businesses, that people are already self-congregating themselves together. They're somewhere, they're already in a spot. Okay? And so what we have to figure out is just where are they at? That's it. We just got to figure out where are those people at. Okay? When I was wrestling at Boise State, just down the road, I remember every single night, the student athletes aren't typically the smartest ones, and the wrestlers are like the bottom of the rung usually, right? And so we had mandatory study hall. You had to do like an hour or 2 hours of study hall every single night. Otherwise, you pretty much failed. Like we couldn't pass classes without it, right? So we had to go to study hall every night. And I remember one day, like, I don't know, 6 months into going to Boise State, I remember sitting there in study hall looking around, and I was on the site called themat.com, and I'm talking about wrestling and hanging out and looking at stuff. And I look around, and I noticed that every single other wrestler at study hall were all on themat.com, all of us. I was like, how funny. I'm like, I bet you that every college campus in America and in Russia and in Germany and every other, like, we're all on the exact same website. Every wrestler today, right now, is on that site talking about it. Okay, it's a congregation. I was like, if I was selling wrestling stuff, I'd just go right here. Everyone's right there, right? And so for you, when you identify who your who is, the second thing you got to figure out is where exactly are those people at? Okay, if you don't know that yet, like, that's the key to all these traffic problems, all these things. How do we get people in? Like, that's the key to figure out. Okay? And it's not just like what Facebook groups are they in, but like what forums they're on, what email lists are they on, what new type of news do they like, there's so many things you can figure out, right? So that's next is the where. Then from there we got to figure out like what's the bait that's going to get that person to raise their hand. Sometimes the bait's like a free plus shipping offer, sometimes it's a webinar, sometimes it's a pre-frame bridge. This can be a lot of different things. For the purposes of this session right now, my bait is content. Okay? So what do I need to write? Or what video do I need to make? Or what podcast, whatever platform you're going to, do I need to create so that my dream people, when they see that, raise their hand and say, oh, I got to read that. I got to find out what's happening. Because as soon as I can get them to raise their hand and take the bait, boom, they read the content, The content pushes them to a pre-frame bridge, and then there's the funnel, and this process is warming them up along the way. Okay? And then from there, that's where the funnels now come in, and we send them up through our value ladder and everything else. Okay? So this is the key. So again, for today's conversation, the bait that we're focusing on is content. Okay? And so it's, again, kind of the bottom of the value ladder here before anything else is happening. It's the first interaction they have with you. And this is, if you can give them value at that point, then they're going to want more. Okay? I haven't talked a lot today about value ladder. If you've read the book, we go deep into it there. But the value ladder is like when people receive value at any rung here, they naturally want more, right? They will naturally keep ascending up. Okay, you guys are in this room today because you probably received some kind of value from me or my team or my company or something. Otherwise, there's no way you would have paid what you paid and flew to Boise, Idaho to be here, right? And at least it's like warm outside right now. Like the next event's in January. We'll see how much value I provided today by how many of you guys come back in January, right? Where it's really cold. But if you provide value here, then people will send up. So this is like my content. Like if I provide value, where you listen, you're like, dang, I'm in. I need more of this. That's the goal. Okay. All right. So there's lots of different networks, right? And how many of you guys have read the book? It's a Jab Jab Hook, or Jab Jab, what's it called? Jab Jab Hook? Nobody knows. So Gary Vaynerchuk wrote a book called Jab 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 Punch, or something like that, right? And hey, who's read the book, by the way? I bought it. I haven't read it. How many of us does that fit? Anyway, so the book was really good, but the one, like the big aha I had in the book is I was thinking about myself, right? And I had this webinar, right? And this is where I'm making all my money. So I'm going out of Facebook, I'm jamming a webinar down people's throats. I'm going to Twitter and I'm jamming a webinar. And I'm going to Instagram and I'm jamming a webinar. I'm going like everywhere, just jam this thing down people's throat because that's how I want to sell. And that's how my life's been. That's what we do. That's what most of us are doing, right? Like we know what we want to sell, so we're just jamming it down each network's throat. And what that book gave me, the understanding was, he said, look, every single network that you're looking at has a different, the way that like what they're doing is different, right? When you're on Facebook, think about the things that you click on, like what is it, right? When you're scrolling through your what's called your news feed, and you're bored out of your mind, and you're whatever, you're going through all this pain, you're trying to figure out something. Like, what are the things you click on? Right, you got to think about that. Like, what is it that get people to click in Facebook? Okay, because it's different if you go over to Instagram, right? Instagram's got limitations. You got, what is it, videos that are 15 seconds or 30 seconds or something like that, right? Okay, you go to Twitter, you got like, what, 170 characters. You go to Periscope, you got this video. You go, like everywhere's got different ways that people are consuming that content. And us as marketers, we can try to jam things down, but if we want it to work for us, we have to meet them where they're at. So when we decide, hey, I'm gonna go to Instagram and to market there, I need to look at like, how are people on Instagram consuming content? Like I need to see what that process is and understand it. And I've got to create content that audience is looking for. Okay, and this was kind of a big aha for me, is really understanding that. And so that's kind of the first thing I want to mention, right? So I'm going to kind of go through some of these networks. And again, I'm not going to give you guys the solution today. I just want to raise the question today. So when you guys decide, because most of you guys aren't going to go like, I'm going to advertise in 30 different networks, okay? And none of us should. Like, we're being very deliberate about this right now. Like, we are taking small steps, and here's some of what we want to put time and effort into. And so we study it and figure out what they're doing and how they're doing it, and then we build the things around it. It's not going to benefit any of you guys to go and like, let's jump into 10 networks at once, because nothing will ever happen, right? So ideally, it's going to be you picking one, starting there until you get it working, then you can pick another one. And so I want to kind of just show you guys a couple of them to start thinking through, but it's going to be on your side. Like if you decide this is what you want to commit to, is then learning and really understanding that world, right? So first thing I'm going to show here is Facebook. Now, like Gary, like when I saw this video, this guy was right. Like his book, like everything he said was perfect. So I'm on my phone flipping through, and all of a sudden I see this video. You know how your videos like autoplay the first 5 seconds, or whatever, but it's quiet, right? So Gary's like going, he's like, the first like 5 seconds, and I'm like, oh, and I click on the button, all of a sudden it starts playing. I'm like, dude, he built this video for Facebook. He understands that Facebook surfers are going to see this thing moving around. I'm like, the stupid videos I post on Facebook, like I'm going through my pitch and things are happening, all of a sudden they click it in the middle of my pitch and they missed the whole point, right? Like he's smart enough to understand like what's happening to a Facebook user is sitting on their phone, probably on the bathroom, scrolling through like this, waiting. All of a sudden it's like this guy's yelling at me, stop, stop, stop. Like he's understanding like who that person on that network is, what they're doing, and how to interact with them, right? And I was just like he obviously he's got to explain it to me initially through the book, but like he gets like that's it, right? Like that's how we communicate in that network. Okay? All right, next one is YouTube. That's an embarrassing picture. Okay, so the YouTube network, this is something we're playing with right now, and we're having a lot of success. We're averaging about $7 per webinar registrant right now, which is a little higher. At Facebook, we were closer to $3, $3.50. So it's a little more expensive, but it's working, and so it's really exciting for us right now. And so there's different, again, on Facebook, there's different promotion strategies. We're going to go over some of those tomorrow. YouTube, there's different promotion strategies, but conceptually, what I want you to understand is the cool thing about YouTube is that people come to YouTube and there's a bajillion videos, right? But what's cool is that you can go and you can find people in your space. Like, for example, there are probably 100,000 videos of people doing demos on how to use lead pages, right? Now, what's cool, I can buy ads on that video. So they watch my video before they watch the how to use lead pages video. Okay, there's a whole bunch of videos about Infusionsoft, like how to use Infusionsoft, how to set up your campaign builder, how to blah, 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 all these things. And all these videos are there, and they're getting 100,000 visitors or views a month or a year, whatever that is. And I can buy ads directly on there. Okay, so if I understand that, I need to step into the view, right? So some dude's on lead pages. He realizes how bad it sucks. He's like, this is the worst thing on planet Earth. Let me go to YouTube and see if anyone can show me how to move an image from here to here, right? All right, so then he goes to YouTube, types in how to move an image in lead pages or whatever, right? Click a button and the video pops up. And right before that video pops up, so you're here to watch a video about lead pages, right? Well, if you already love lead pages, then click on the skip button right now. But if you want to see something that's amazing, then hold on, because I'm going to show you something that we call ClickFunnels. All right, now, ClickFunnels is a tool we built because we hated how lead pages gives you a page and you're stuck. You can't move things around. You can't really edit things. You can change headlines, and that's about it. And so we built a tool that gives you the ability to build anything you can dream of, but it's really simple and easy to use. And I wanted to do something really cool for you today because we know that you're interested in creating pages, but you want something better, I'm guessing, right? So I'm going to give you guys a gift. First thing, I'm doing a webinar this week that's actually going to show you a sales funnel that we built inside of ClickFunnels. And you can register for this webinar for free. It's not going to cost you anything. I'm going to show you that sales funnel, show you all the pages and what we did and why we did it and how we get traffic to it. And when you register for the webinar, I'm going to give you another gift as well. I'm actually going to give you a free 2-week trial of the ClickFunnels. So you can go in there, you can play with it, and see how much easier it is to use than lead pages and how you have the ability to pretty much create anything you want. So what I want you to do right now is click on the link below to register for the webinar. After you register for the webinar, you'll get your free 2-week trial at the ClickFunnels. So all you do now is click on the link down below, and I'll see you on the webinar later this week. All right, so that video is playing on top of every single lead page video. Just click it. Come on. If you go to the Infusionsoft video, so you're like, Infusionsoft is so confusing, I don't understand it. Let me see if anyone on YouTube knows how to use it. So you're here to watch a training video about Confusionsoft, am I right? I know it's called Infusionsoft, but it's so confusing, right? Well, if Confusionsoft makes perfect sense to you, then click on the skip button down below. But if you're looking for a tool that actually makes Infusionsoft simple, then I want to show you something that we created called ClickFunnels. Now, ClickFunnels, all right. So this will be on top of it. The stuff, when it's in through an ad, is different. This is just, I posted on YouTube so you guys can see it. When it's in an ad, there's a link right there. They can click on it, takes them to the register for the webinar. Okay. Now what's cool is that a whole bunch of cool things. Like if they click on the skip button, I don't have to pay anything. So that's why I'm like, if you don't want to watch, click right here. So I'm telling them to go skip, so I don't have to pay anything, right? So I save money there. We talk a lot about strategies. There's a bunch of cool things. But what's cool is like, I sat down, I listed out who are all my competitors, right? And I made a huge list. I'm like, who are all the different gurus out there in the world? I made a list of all those people. And then I did a whole bunch of stuff. And then Brandon and I sat at this freaking desk for like 5 hours. I recorded 1 billion videos with the exact same script over and over and over and over and over again, right? And it was kind of a pain in the butt for one day, like I'm not gonna lie. Then you edit them all, now I've got all these videos I can go, and we can go on all the lead pages, and then all the Infusionsoft and the Insta pages. And in fact, right now our best leads are coming from Seth Godin's videos. So we got Seth Godin's videos, we got Tim Ferriss, we got Tony Robbins, we got, I mean, think about how many hundreds of millions of views are happening every single month, and the pre-frame before they get to that person's video is me talking about my thing, right? Do you guys see the power in that? So I'm looking at, here's the network, here's people who are coming, what's the mindset they're in, how do I now meet them right where they're at, create content that I can then put there and kind of have there. The guy that's been doing these for us, we're planning probably next month or so to have him do a training with you guys. He was going to come here to Boise for this event and kind of show you guys that, but he had a commitment last minute. He couldn't come. So we'll do a follow-up webinar in a couple weeks and have him come on and show you guys everything behind this, like how the campaigns work, like how he's doing everything. But like I said, right now we're getting about $7 a registrant for our webinars, which is awesome. And then we're going to come back. I'm going to do one for my book and a bunch of other things. But it's awesome because you're leveraging that network and really getting people right there when they're at. Is that exciting? You guys like that one? Yeah. The first time I started like getting this, there's a dude, Tai Lopez, or do you guys know what I'm talking about? Tai Lopez. Have you guys heard of him or seen him? So I don't know if this is true. I think it is, but all he's doing is YouTube ads like this and just blanketing everywhere. First time I saw him, I went to a Tim Ferriss video and his thing pops up. He's like, you guys probably see, he's in the garage. He's like, hey, I'm in my garage and there's my car. It's like $1 million car. And here's all my books on my bookshelves and it's amazing. And I read a book a day and you should come opt in and blah, 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 right? Anyway, I think, so this, I don't know if these are true. I could be completely off on these stats, but Neil Patel, when he came out, he said that right now 1 out of 4 Americans who were surveyed know exactly who he is. 1 out of 4, because he's on every YouTube video out there. They have like, I can't remember, like 60 or 70,000 people who have joined his like book of the month continuity thingamer. I don't even know what it is, to be honest. And they're just crushing it. All they're doing is just tons and tons and tons of YouTube ads. And so we're watching him and funnel hacking and seeing what he's doing, and then that's kind of, we're trying to create something kind of similar. All right, so there's YouTube. Now the other thing to also think about too is, well, this YouTube strategy is not, well, it's not perfect for this one, but let's do the blog one, okay? So next one is blogging, right? So I've been trying for years to have a blog. I hired Neil Patel because I thought if I pay someone 25 grand to come out for one day and talk about blogging, I'll probably start blogging, right? That was like I hope I do. So it's really hard. So for me, it was kind of the same thing with blogging. Like I feel like I had to figure out like my voice. Like what's, like just like video, like you figure out your voice. Like what's your voice in blogging? And like my biggest problem is I never had one, so I never did it. And after we finished the .com Secrets book, where we have little doodle sketches and then like concepts, like I realized like that's the way I speak. Right? That's like my thing. And so we haven't done a ton of these yet, but kind of what I'm doing now is I'm taking concepts, we're sketching them out, and we have a blog post around those, right? So that's, you'll start seeing these hopefully a couple times a week coming from us, and they'll be going on the blog. And part of it is for my true fans, right? Trying to get those guys more engaged and more excited. So that's step number 1. But step number 2 now, and again we'll talk more about the strategy tomorrow. But after that's done, and the blog post is finished, there's tons of things I can do to get that blog post out, right? Taking it, and Jesse's going to be sharing with you guys a really cool strategy. He's been doing it for Brendon Burchard, and just his company is blowing up from this one strategy that Jesse's doing. He just started doing it for us over the last, 30 days, 40 days, something like that? 4 days. So he's doing it right now. It's awesome. And so he's going to go through the whole strategy tomorrow. And it's like, it's taking your blog posts, taking your YouTube videos, taking all these content you're creating, and like, how do we amplify now? How do we promote it? How do we get it so that it's not just like the 8 people that read your blog that see it, but how do you get it so that 800,000 people see it, right? That's the goal. That's what tomorrow is all about. Like, how do we amplify the stuff? Because posting on YouTube, you're like, sweet, some people in YouTube saw it. How do we take that and just 10x it or 20x or 100x it? So that's what tomorrow is all about. Today's all about understanding the process and understanding the content creation, right? So the blog is done. So you figure out like whatever your voice is in your blog. Maybe again it's a video blog or whatever, but you create that blog, and after it's done, now we can take that, and like for me, I did these images very on purpose, right? Like it's an image on the bottom. In the image, it has like, want more, read the blog, get the book. So there's hard-coded links in every image. So I want people sharing these, right? So I take this, I promote it on Facebook. I take that image, I can promote it on Instagram. I take, and I can start spreading out this piece of content in all different directions to get more and more eyeballs to see that, which then brings more people back into my world, okay? And so again, that's something, the promotion side will be tomorrow, but just looking at for your blog, like coming back to figuring out your voice, like what's your voice? How do you want to talk to people? How do you want to do that? 2 things I want to mention on this before I go on. And this just comes back to the consistency, like the key with the consistency. We talked about with podcasting. I talked about with Neil Patel when we had him and we were talking about blogging. He's just like, you've got to blog every single day. There's another guy that's really inspiring to me. His name's Eric Worre. Any of you guys follow Eric or see him? So a couple of you guys. So Eric's in the network marketing industry. And first time I saw him, I'm like, he's a rather average individual. Like he's just an average dude. Like a little overweight, bald, like just, I'm like, okay, there's this guy, right? I was just like, okay, this Eric Worre. And the first time I found out about him is because he was putting on a live event and he had 10,000 people in the room. A little while later, he did a webinar with Tony Robbins, got over 100,000 people to register for it. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Because There's something he's doing. I got to figure out what this is. So I started looking deeper and deeper, and I have some friends that know him, and what they said is that, and again, I don't know if this may be myth or legend, I don't know, but it's still pretty powerful. So he went, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and he hired Gary Vaynerchuk. It was like, Gary, I saw you did Wine Library TV, you blew up the whole thing. How do you, what's the secret? And Gary's like, you got to do a video podcast every day. Okay, and then what? Just do it every single day. Is that it? Yeah, every day, consistently. And for the first year, you'll make nothing. After that, you'll be rich. And so Eric's like, all right, sweet, man. And for every day for 5 years, Eric has posted a video. You can go to the site, and you'll see every day, for consistently, every single day for 5 years, he's posted a video. Like I said, this guy is not charismatic. He's not but he's consistent every single day. And now 5 years later, can you imagine having a seminar room with 10,000 people? He could have sold a whole lot more tickets than that, but that's the biggest the conference room would hold. 100,000 people registering for your webinars. If I'm closing at 15%, that'd be 150,000 people times $1,000. Anyone know the math on that? That's a lot of money, right? Okay. Neil Patel, 1,700 opt-ins a day from consistency, right? Some of these things sound like a pain in the butt, and they are, and I get it. But if you can figure out in your life, how do I make a daily structure where I know 3 days a week, I'm writing a blog post, or 3 days a week, I'm doing a podcast, or twice a week, I'm doing a pair, or whatever. Again, you don't have to do all of them. I don't want you to overwhelm them. You got to pick the ones that you like, the ones that are comfortable, the ones that you feel like you can thrive in. And after you pick it, you have to be consistent with it. Even though at first you're not going to make any money along the way. And you're like, why am I doing this? Nobody's listening to me. Okay? But think about 5 years from now. Think about 100,000 people in an auditorium, or 100,000 people on a webinar. That's the key to this the consistency. So I want to kind of throw that out again. Periscope is another big thing, right? We're creating the content, and then we're going to start distributing that through all the channels, all the promotional strategies we'll be talking about tomorrow. But all these content things we're creating, you guys, are all with the same goal. Same thing with podcasts, right? Creating the content, creating the podcast, putting them out there. When those things are done, all the distribution channels we'll talk about tomorrow, you can take those things and you can amplify them out, and that gets people now to start coming into your funnel. So we're creating content, we're figuring out each platform, what they want, what it's structured like, what it looks like, how that all works. You create content for that, and then like I said, tomorrow's promotion day. So now this is done, boom, how do we get people seeing this? How do we get eyeballs on it? They see the eyeballs, and they come to the bridge page, come to the funnel. That's how we go big. Okay? Now a lot of times in these network days, this is earlier today I spent so much time on cold traffic, warm traffic, hot traffic, okay? When I'm going to some of these networks out here, this is cold traffic, they have no idea who I am. Okay, so I've got to bridge that gap. I've got to warm them up, right? Someone using Infusionsoft has no idea who ClickFunnels is. They don't know why they should care, right? So they come to a video. I got to say really quickly in this bridge, I got content pushing the bridge. This is, right now you understand this. Okay, you understand Infusionsoft. There's something better. It's called ClickFunnels. Come on this webinar over here where you can go through this process and understand why this is going to be good for you, right? I'm taking somebody who's cold. I'm trying to warm them up, put them through a sales process. Now they're going to become a buyer and hopefully become a rabid fan. And I want them wearing my Confusionsoft t-shirt afterwards, right? Does that make sense, you guys? That's the process we're talking about, okay? And so if you look at it from a how, this is the law, right? How do I create this? What are we going to do? It comes back down to a couple things, right? First step here is your funnel, right? That's what, starting Monday, the next 10 weeks we're focusing on, is building out your break-even funnel. From there, we'll come out, let's build some pre-frame bridges based on the ones you like. How many of you guys, from when we talked about pre-frame bridges, have one that in your mind is that's the one I want to do? I want to do a quiz funnel, or I want to do a survey, or I want to do a free giveaway, or there's someone you're just that resonates with me. All right, she's excited. Morgan's excited back there. Okay, so you can figure out this is the one that's most, I'm going to build, here's my funnel, I want to sell my free book. I'm going to do a really cool giveaway where I'm giving away guns. All right, so now I got a giveaway. Now I need to go to Facebook. What kind of content can I create that gets people excited in Facebook? Okay, I'm going to create this video with me guns and saying free guns, and there's going to be a thing talking about that. Okay, I create that, post it on Facebook, and then boom, we'll do the promotional strategies to that. Okay, and I'm going to go to Twitter. Okay, I'm in Twitter. What do people in Twitter want about guns? Right, I got to figure that out. How do I structure it where a cold person is going to see that? It brings them in. They work with my brain, boom, and then you do Twitter and you hit the YouTube and you start going through network by network. And you're creating little content pieces that go out there to go and capture those people, and then the promotion that drives people to each of these content pieces. Does that make sense? Here's my business. I have products, I have services, I have things I'm doing, right? So where do we start? So we start back here with what is it you actually want to sell, right? So for me, I want to sell, give me a market. What market should I be in? Guitar lessons. Okay, so I want people to come to my house. We're gonna wail on the guitar, and we're gonna do some awesome stuff. So I'm selling guitar lessons. high ticket ones for 5K because I'm in a famous band and people will pay me a lot of money to come there, right? So that's my first thing. So I know that. And again, people are going to write a check for $5,000 to play guitar with me. They got to be warm, right? Okay, so that's what we're starting at, okay? So we come backwards and build a funnel. So let's say I have a high ticket funnel right here, a high ticket funnel here where I've got like, here's how I showed someone how to play guitar in 15 minutes, and here's where we call them and we sell them on the phone, right? So this becomes my funnel, okay? Now we step back to a bridge page. Okay, people that want to play guitar, they probably would like a guitar, right? So I'm going to buy the freaking sweetest guitar I can find. Let's see if I can draw a guitar. Oh, that's pretty, it's almost good. I screwed up right there. Okay? I'm going to do this really cool bridge page. It says, free guitar signed by Van Halen, and it's amazing, and we're going to give away a free guitar, right? Okay, so I got this free guitar. This is my bridge. It's going to get people in to come over here, right? So now I got a free guitar. Now I come over here. I got to figure out what network. So here's Facebook, right? So I can do a really cool ad on free guitar. Here comes the Twitter, cool ad. And so that's kind of, and this goes different layers, right? So here's network-wide, but there's also audience-wide, right? So inside of Facebook, I got people who just like guitar, right? So my ad for them might be like, you like guitar? How'd you like to win the best guitar in the world, right? That's something that's more warm traffic. But there might be a cold traffic where some dude doesn't know guitar, so it's like, hey, how'd you like to learn how to play guitar in 30 days? Okay, that's cold traffic. I don't know how to play guitar, but that'd be sweet to learn how to play guitar. Cool, so that targets cold traffic people. Push them to my free guitar. I'm going to learn how to play guitar, and I'm going to win a guitar. Awesome. Does that make sense? And then we come back here, and then we start driving all the promotional stuff tomorrow into those front ends. Does that help? Yeah. Any other questions about this at all? I know we've covered a lot in the last day, right? This is kind of heavy stuff. This is a lot. And I get that, but that's the whole goal of this coming is immersion, right? Like I'm going to give you guys more than you can probably handle at first, which is good because you're going to be like, wow, but you see the picture now, right? That's where I get. Maybe I don't understand what Russell's talking about here, but I see kind of the picture. I do get the funnel, and Monday we're starting that, so I'm going to focus on funnel first. And then I come back to videos, okay, bridge pages. I remember we had this one and that. What was it? You watch the videos, like, okay, cool, that's what I want to do. Then we can go back, and you can go back through. But the goal of these events, you guys, the Ignite events, is really like immersion, so you can see the whole picture, and then you can go back and we start dissecting and break out piece by piece by piece. Over here, yeah. Have you read the Doc Upstairs book yet? What's that? You read the book yet? All right, so as soon as someone joins your list, whatever step it is, then you start the soap opera sequence. That's where you are building the relationship with the attractive character. We're warming them up. We're helping them fall in love with you. Because I'm about to give you a free guitar. Isn't that exciting? Why would I give you a free guitar? People always ask me why I give you a free guitar. Well, the reason why and boom, I'm into my story. Now they're like, man, Russell's awesome. He's giving away a free guitar. Right? And building a relationship with attractive character. Now they like me. Now they're like, man, this guy's hooking me up. Right? That's kind of where it begins. So a lot of that's happening in the email sequences afterwards. Sometimes it's happening, like I showed before, like a bridge page. Like maybe they subscribe for the free thing, and there's a bridge page in between where it's like, hey, thanks so much for opting in for the free guitar. You made me think, why am I doing this? It's because I teach guitar lessons, and I thought maybe you'd want to learn. And so I got a really cool course to teach you how to learn guitar in the next 30 days. But you entered the contest regardless. You entered to win. But if you want more information and want to learn how to play guitar in the next 30 days, click the link down below, and I can show you my system. And boom, now they're into the sales funnel. So you can do it like as a bridge page in between that as well. So there's a lot of different ways. Again, there's a lot of ways to do it. It's just kind of thinking like, again, it comes back to the buckle, right? Like they've thought through like, this guy comes in the store, what's the first thing I should do to them? And then where should I take him from there? And then where should I take him from here? And where should I take him from here? And it's kind of thinking that on this, like if you were going through this, where would you want to go? Like where do you get stuck? Like logically I get the guitar, like yeah, it's a good question. Like I'm stuck, like okay, when I'm stuck, between here and here, like what should I, like maybe throw a page in there and you know, so it's kind of just thinking through that process. That's like for me, I'm like I totally geek out on this stuff, as you can probably tell. Like I'd have whiteboards and I'll sit there, okay, now I just clicked on this ad. And then I came here and I read this article, okay, and then I'm trying to like put myself into that state where someone's going to be reading it. And if I'm not feeling it, then I know they're not feeling it. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of like we build something, then you got to kind of try it out, you know, test yourself. And it's hard to do, like especially after you've been the one creating it, to step back and like try to go through it. But that's what it's all about, to help you kind of figure out where are the sticking points, what's working, what's not working. So. In fact, when I do console calls, a lot of you guys, like that's my thing. Like showing the whole process, and I'm thinking, okay, I just clicked on an ad, I just came here. Like, why wouldn't I, like, I'm not gonna opt into that thing, scares me or what, you know, whatever. I'm looking at those kind of things for myself when I'm looking at your guys' things as well. So, any other questions about that at all? His question is like, I've always thought about like, I'm writing a Facebook ad to a webinar registration page, right? And what you're probably doing right now is you're going after a warm audience and driving Facebook ad to a webinar registration page. That works, right? Because they're warm, like the bridge is very, very small. until Facebook's like, screw you, direct response marketers, and kicks you out. But for right now, it works. So there's not much more you need. But when you go outside of like your hot market, now we're stepping a step back and you're saying, hey, people that hate their job, and I'm taking to like, let me ask you, like, let me tell you the number one reason why you probably hate your job, right? Now there's a quiz, and it's like, did you know you could be, and now you're taking through this thing where this cold person doesn't understand your market. That's what the pre-frame quiz is about. And then you dump them on a webinar registration page. Now you just open up this whole market to everyone who isn't already in your existing market. And now I don't just have to advertise on Tony Robbins' page. Now I can advertise on Geico Direct, right? Or whatever that is, because now it's like, it opens up this huge new world because now I know what their pain points are, and I can speak to them at that point. Does that kind of make sense? Cool.